Everybody, welcome to the UGASports Live podcast. My name is Radi Nabulsi. I'm joined by Dayne Young and Jim Donnan, the former Georgia Hall of Fame. Well, not former Hall of Fame. He's still in the Hall of Fame, but former Georgia head football coach and the star attraction of our UGA Sports show. Sorry we couldn't do it today at noon. Dayne's fault. But we do enjoy having the show at 8 o'clock for our nighttime viewers. We know a lot of people work during the day on Tuesday, and I've had a bunch of people say, hey, when you do it at 8 o'clock, I get to watch. I don't normally get to watch it live. I always have to watch the replay. And now I can, when you guys do it at 8, I can join in. So if you are one of those people, we want to see you in the comments. Ask your questions. Say hi in the comments. Tell us where you're watching from. Share this with your friends. Now, you notice I'm not at Classic City Eats. I'm in my office. Trying to do this at 8 o'clock at Classic City Eats in Watkinsville is tough because it's loud at lunch. It's really loud at dinner because that place is absolutely packed, especially on Tamale Tuesday. So I didn't think it'd be a good idea for me to go over there. And well, actually, probably would have been a good idea because then you guys wouldn't have had to. You just mute me the whole time and just listen to Coach. So it would have worked.
You just want to eat some more. We get it. Like you just want to get some.
I just got back to New Orleans. I don't think I could eat another bite, so I'm stuffed. Do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, Athens Ford, Europie, Academia Brewing Company, and Dead Soxy. We'll tell you about those folks later in the show. Coach, I'm going to go straight to you. We broke some news when I was in New Orleans that Rylan Goody, the Georgia tight end, he's out with a knee injury. So you have Brock Bowers out with the labrum issue. You have Darnell Washington out with a foot issue. He just had surgery. Now you're out with Rylan Goody. You're down to like 3 tight ends. And it wasn't a few weeks ago you were explaining how Georgia likes to two-spot, have 2 different sets of plays being run on 2 different spots. How do you do that with only 3 tight ends?
Well, you can only play one at a time. So 1 and 1's 2. You have 2 spots, so you can do that. You just have a hard time running some gang stuff where you have more than 2, on the formation, like 12 personnel where you have 2 tight ends. But from a standpoint of Gilbert getting more reps is good, and you got Seether who really has a lot like Poole. He's hung around and he knows what to do. He's gained some weight. And then you've got Oscar Delp in here for spring practice who's really getting a lot of reps as a young tight end to do some things. And then some of the times you can just go personnel where you don't use tight ends and work on your wide receivers, like 3 to a group. And so what they'll do is maybe the one group will be down there working on more tight end plays, and the other will be at the other end doing things that involve either 2 backs or maybe 3 wide receivers. But they're going to make sure they get plenty of reps. I mean, they don't want to shortchange any of these guys. But I wanted to make one thing that I like about the show is always hearing about people that listen to it. And my daughter Tammy has some friends that she plays tennis with, and we've got a really ardent supporter that listens to all our stuff, Bob Anderson, that I actually called up and talked to a little bit. He's a tennis player too, and went to Georgia, fired up his daughter and son-in-law to go to all the trips and everything. So I'm sure there's thousands of people out there like Bob, but I just want to say I appreciate your support, Bob, and everybody that listens to this, and hope they enjoy it. But from my perspective, today was a great day because they had kind of a open practice for law enforcement. And since I'm have a friend up in West Virginia named Sheriff Bill, I went out to practice today because I knew it couldn't have been any worse than Sheriff Bill would make it. So I went out there for a little while today, and I got to see a lot of people that I've been involved with over the years, not in any that they had arrested me or anything, but these people do I don't mean to say it like that, but the law enforcement and the emergency groups around the state, a lot of Georgia fans there, and it's a great time for them to come up here, see the facilities, have a chance to watch practice, and then go over to the stadium and have a nice dinner tonight. So just Kirby and the staff really appreciate what all these people do. Certainly Josh Brooks, who was a little busier today, introducing his new coach in basketball, which I'm excited about. Coach Abe coming in with her family, and we're all behind anybody in all the sports. But it's just really good to see that kind of morale out there among all the law enforcement, because so many of them are Georgia fans and they support us. So it was fun to do that. But, from my perspective, just our team athletically just looks really the kind of guys you like to be on your team, big, fast, can run. And certainly we got some holes we got to fill, but I feel good about going forward what we got, and the competition out there is always going to be stellar. That's going to be. So hope we got some good questions. Maybe I can do a better job answering tonight since I was disguised as a patrolman today.
With your hands behind your back.
Hey, you gave a shout out to your daughter Tammy. Also, shout out to Todd. Happy belated birthday to Todd Donnan.
Yeah, hey, that was an awesome weekend for me. Everybody knows that most of my family has moved out to Oklahoma now, and my daughter Tammy's over there. But I don't want to get too much about me. But it was good for him to be back, celebrate his 50th birthday with his old man, and Tammy came over too, and Christy, his wife, and it was just a good time. And Todd went out to practice with me on Saturday and got to see Mike Bobo and some of the people that he'd worked with, and Ron Corson and Drew Wilson, a lot of those people over there. And he was really blown away by the facilities, and certainly one of the first things he asked me is, who is number 14? He doesn't know our players like we do, but
right.
So both of y'all know that that's Gilbert, but it's pretty obvious that somebody's asking about him right off the bat. And people had a lot of good things to say about what he did in practice Saturday, and they were certainly right. I mean, he's definitely a force out there.
Well, when you look at the roster on Georgia Dogs, you do see a new name on there right now, Coach, and Randon Jernigan, baseball player and outfielder for a few years for the Diamond Dogs. Now, on the football team, practicing with them, I was curious, had you ever, when you were coaching, looked around at other sports and say, let me see what I can bring over to the football practice field and see what they have going on over here?
Yeah, I mean, you do it to a certain extent, but most of it's in recruiting where you'll tell a guy he can play other sport as long as he's making a significant contribution to it. You don't want to have somebody riding a pine over there, but Randall, he's out there and he's a fast guy. I mean, he's got speed, and maybe he'll help us. We need some depth at receiver, and his first play is not take two and hit the right, though. I mean, he's got to learn how to get the jargon down that we got and learn all that stuff. So I really haven't watched him much. I didn't even know about that till yesterday. Maybe I read about it. So I'll do a better job of checking him out. But that's kind of a unique scenario there. But, Kirby lets anybody that wants to come out. I mean, if they meet the standards, they'll let them come out there and see if they can help us. And I know he's got bowling over there working a little bit, catching some deep balls today. So, no, he didn't.
He had me hooked. I was falling for it. I'm like, holy don't do that. Don't mess with me.
Someone on the dog event will take you seriously.
SEC Sprinter of the Week.
Yeah, that guy can fly. And tell you somebody else can fly is Arian Smith. I mean, they're being real careful about him on the rehab, but he's getting a lot of good reps. And I'm not going to really talk a lot about what I saw out there, but I really thought that Arian Smith, just different gauge. And the guy that really people take for granted that, everybody hears about A.D. Mitchell, and they should, but 84 for us is just a really, really good player. I'm talking about an SEC type receiver that has just learned so much and has got such a quick burst. And, having Karis Jackson and Rosemy out there, and also Blaylock, that gives us some depth too. So a lot of good things going on there with the skill positions, in my opinion.
Yeah, Lad McConkey, 84, we saw him, take a couple of deep balls that Auburn game, and he hit that guy in stride. He's going to take it to the house. I know everyone wants to talk about A.D. Mitchell, but Lad, or not even deep, just heck, those crossing routes that he just –
right. He's good on that, and he's very good. He's very good at engaging people and staying on his blocks too, like a little pit bull out there fighting them and scratching. I like the way he goes and does about his business, and he's always got a smile on his face and good attitude. And The one guy, though, that Saturday when I left there just made my mouth feel like Niagara Falls watering was Jalen Carter. I mean, I can't talk enough about Jalen Carter. I think everybody on here should get him an NIL and give him $10 million. I mean, good Lord, that guy is just it's not fair. It's really not fair. Of course, Kirby will say, hey, he's got to work and all, which he does. He works. But I'm telling you, if you're getting in a line and he looks like he's the next guy in line, you're getting your shoes tied or you're asking the guy to jump in front of you or something. You don't want to go against that guy. You do not want to go against Jalen Carter. If you do, you're crazy. And if you're crazy enough to go,
Oklahoma drills turn a lot of football players into basketball players. When you see Jalen Carter over there, you're like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, we can talk all night about different things, but when you say a prayer tonight and be thankful for things, just be thankful we got that guy. Good Lord. I mean,
it's funny you say that. I asked somebody on my drive back yesterday who'd been to a practice. I'm like, all right, who stood out to you the most? He's like, Jalen Carter is the best player on Georgia's football team. I'm like, oh, okay. He goes, that I've ever seen. And I'm like, oh, okay.
He's among the best. I mean, he's among the best that's been here on the defensive front without question.
Well, my guy's only been here 2 years, so I'm just saying, but that was quite the endorsement.
And he practices hard and he works hard, good attitude, and very athletic. So,
but what's the thing that you're hearing in this NFL draft process? That Georgia has 3 first-round defensive linemen, and Jalen Carter is better than all of them.
We'll find out here. We're going to have Daniel Jeremiah on in about the next 10 days, and he's going to give us the whole rinky-dinks down to the real nitty-gritty. And but I think all 3 certainly have enhanced themselves, and nobody's skyrocketed any more than Walker. Just incredible the way he's tested out. And defensive players that can really run and have length, they're just like hard to find in the NFL. I mean, you look at Leonard Floyd, what he's doing up there, very similar guy, but maybe a little, weighs a little more in Carter. And I can just see him being a real force for any team, and he'll jump in there and do well.
There's legitimate buzz that Trayvon Walker could be the first overall pick in the NFL draft.
Yeah, before I want to mention that.
Buzzing that. Brent Rollins.
Brent
hey, I like Brent, but I mean, first guy chosen. Are you serious?
I'm telling you, I'm seeing it out there.
Yeah, actually, Coach, we had a question came in from Dog in France. You remember she dropped a question last week, and the question was 2-parter. It says, why would anyone draft Aiden Hutchinson over Trayvon Walker? And what about the talk of Walker going number 1 overall? So yeah, that talk's out there.
I mean, I could see him going over Hutchinson, but and Hutchinson's ranked high. But I mean, who's got the first pick? Jaguars.
Yes, it's Jaguars and then Lions.
Yeah, they need about 50 picks a piece. I'm hauled for Walker. I really think he's a fantastic player, but if he goes. I mean, and certainly Hutchinson, we're down on him because we watched Jamari Salyer dominate him, and Michigan just didn't do anything against us. So particularly on the pass rush, he made a good little play on a screen pass, but he dominated the Big Ten. I mean, he had a great year, and he can run and jump, and we'll see. But I like that guy from Oregon too. I think he's really good. I can't pronounce his name.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Thibodeau, yeah, that's good. That's why you're on the show, Damon. Dane, you're real good on that stuff. But we'll see. It's going to be fun, that draft night from Vegas. I mean, that's going to be awesome. I don't know if Kirby's going out there, but I got to think he's got to go out there and be in that green room with all those guys. I mean, I don't put any pressure on him, but that's going to be a good infomercial for UGA football for sure.
I think we need to go out there and cover this.
Yeah, let's go cover it.
Go get a little surf and turf at Caesars. We can do that.
If I go out there, I'm going to Joe Stonecrab.
There you go. Oh, yeah. You told me about them. But in answer to your question, Dog and France, I don't know why anybody would take Hutchinson over Trayvon Walker. I get it for the speed, but I thought Trayvon Walker during the drills and the numbers he put up at the combine outperformed Hayden Hutchinson. So
here's the deal, though, that everybody needs to understand. He hasn't played the same position. He has not played an outside rush technique, although he lines up in certain personnel where he would be the outside guy. But he's more of an inside down guy in college, although he could be an outside line, and he tested for outside linebacker. So that's why Hutchinson's rated ahead of him. He's got a lot more tape and has a lot more sacks and has played a lot more reps. But just as far as pure testing, I mean, this guy is Phi Beta Kappa you can't say anything else about him except wow. And we talked about being wow the whole time. When we were recruiting him, when he's playing basketball down there, and he's thinking about maybe even playing basketball in college. So, you know how I feel about basketball players and track athletes. I'm always for them. Particularly as a football lineman, that shows they can really move and run and jump. So, but let's talk about this year's team, though. We've had enough about the draft.
Well, we'll get one more question about last year's team coach is from Sarah. She says, when does this team go to the White House? I have no idea.
Well, they had it set for a couple of times, but Biden has forgotten about it. So I don't know.
Woo!
I don't know.
Coach is trying to get on Ben Shapiro's show.
No, I don't know. I think they need to go, though. That's a great thing. We were supposed to go when I was at Marshall and got screwed up a little bit about we had to pay our own way, which was hard for us to do, so we didn't get to go. But I think they should go for sure. I mean, good Lord, that's a good photo op for anybody.
Well, you talked about the good, Kirby Smart being out there in Vegas in that green room with all his Bulldogs out there getting drafted. You know, him standing there next to the President of the United States, presenting him with the jersey and all those big boys standing behind him. That's another great photo shoot. So
yeah.
So I like that.
Good.
We got another question from Russell and Evans. I wonder if I know that. I don't. So, who replaces Nakobe Dean and is Dan Jackson on scholarship now? I will answer the last question about Dan Jackson.
Dan Jackson said he wasn't, but
he is not.
I'm sure that'll it's kind of like Podlesny last spring. You know, they put
a good point.
And it's just a timing factor. But these guys get, they get food and they get the cost of living and all that. And certainly he's probably qualifies for the Hope Scholarship, but he's certainly deserving of it and a very good player. I mean, not just to fill in. He's a dang good player, and I'm glad he's on our team. And as far as the linebackers, we've got Dumas coming back, number 10. Is it Dumas Johnson? Is that his full name? Or how? Yeah. So
Dumas Johnson.
He makes plays. He's around the ball. He's a very good pass defender, and he's aggressive. We got Small London. I mean, however you pronounce his name, Munden coming back. He's been hurt a little bit. You got Sorey. You got the kid Jalen Walker, number 11, is outstanding. We talked about. Unfortunately, C.J. Washington had a very serious injury here last week, and it's definitely up in the air about him playing. So we'll just have to see, but I'm just thankful that he's okay. I mean, anytime you sustain any kind of injury to the head and neck area, it's just very scary. But hopefully he's going to be okay. And so we'll be okay at linebacker. We're going to be okay on defense. I mean, 2 years ago we lost 4 guys in the top 92. And everybody – plus we had 5 guys drafted at the secondary and lost 2 guys in the transfer portal. So, I mean, things didn't look too great last spring. People weren't talking about this being a nuclear defense, and it ended up being. So I think this defense is going to be good. Be real good.
I talked about all those defensive linemen in the draft, and you look around and there's Jermaine Johnson, one of the transfers, that's also up there too. And he couldn't play as much as he wanted to at Georgia. I mean, that's how deep the team
Johnson and and Brenton Cox down in Florida, working on jumping offside this spring, see if he can set the record.
I like Coach After Dark.
Good player, but the guy jumps offside a lot now. I mean, really does.
Hey, jumping that snap count, baby. When it works, it works. I get it. But you're right. That's Dane, you bring up those guys that imagine if they've been on the team still, and you could have had Cade Mays out there on the offensive line as well. So we earlier this morning we published the revisionist history of Georgia's 2018 signing class. That was the 2018 signing class that had 8 different 5-star players in it, and the best signing class Georgia's ever had in the Rivals rankings. And those 8 5-stars matched the previous 5 years combined. They had it all in one class. And 6 of the top 12 guys in that class transferred. So you take your star guys and you lose half of them in the top 12 of that class. But 4 years later, that signing class delivers you a national championship, which just shows you how important recruiting is. And
yeah, that's right. You guys got like Luke Ford and Fields and Cade Mays and Cox and just a lot of good players, but you always got good players playing too. So I like to talk more about the ones that are here. So
well, in the way that Patrick Garvin ranked it, and I think he's right, the number one player in that class looking back now is 3-star Jordan Davis.
Yeah, Jordan and Channing Tindall, some good players. So we got some new questions here. Are you going to do a commercial or what are we going to do?
No, I'm just going to mention one of our one of our sponsors. I want to mention the guys at Dead Soxy, because they have a neat program coming up for the UGASports folks. And basically it's going to be, I'm not sure we haven't decided which series it's going to be, but they're going to have a home run discount for baseball. So basically for every home run that Georgia hits over the 3 days, say they're taking on Texas A&M or Vandy or Florida, whichever series it's going to be. We haven't set down the series yet, but they are going to basically every time Georgia hits a home run, you get 10% off on your socks. Now they're going to have to finish that out at limit at 60%. They can't do 10 home runs. Everybody gets free socks. Although you can, if you go to their website, sign up, just give them your name and email address and you get a free pair of socks. So you can try them. But if you want to get those cool Georgia socks with the Georgia logo with the red and white and black, red, silver, and black on them, and all the stripes and all the cool styles, you can get that from our friends at Dead Soxy. But I tell you, when that promo hits, we'll let you know ahead of time. So be sure to watch, keep an eye on those baseball games, and be rooting for Georgia to hit home runs. 3 home runs over the 3 days, 30% off. 10 home runs over those 3 days, 60% off. So they're going to have up to 60% off, and I'm going to try to make it so that they go up against a team with crappy pitching. So let's find which team has the worst pitching and set it up for that weekend. So shout out to our friends at Dead Soxy. Also want to mention our friends over
this about Dead Soxy too, those socks, because I'm from Burlington, North Carolina, the hosiery capital of the world. I'm not talking about of the United States, hosiery capital of the world. So I don't know a lot about some things on clothes and everything, but socks I do. And I'm just telling you, these socks are the real deal. They'll stay up, they'll last. And what I liked about them, they gave me a couple pairs, so I liked them even better because they were free. but they're really good socks. And even though I'm not supposed to, I'm supposed to be objective and everything, realistically, I mean, you can't get a better pair of socks for the price. They're going to last you, and also wear your school colors. I don't think they actually have the logo on them because that would be an infraction, but they do have the colors. And,
no, I'm not going to get in trouble with the CLC folks. There's a logo of the state of Georgia with the stripes going through it with the colors. So.
Yeah,
there is a football player wearing red.
Today we can arrest you. We got a lot of people in town that's got the APB out for you that heard you just got back in New Orleans. But seriously, that's a good plan. And what are you going to tell us about the other one?
I was going to tell you, the folks over at Academia Brewing Company, they have a neat event coming up. It's a stand-up comedy show on Thursday, April 21st. So about 3 weeks from this coming Thursday. So it's going to be a big event out there. The tickets, the pre-sale tickets are already up and running. swing by the Academia website or go by their Academia Facebook page. And I always tell people to go by the Facebook page because that's where they always have all the notes about the Trivia Tuesday, which is going on tonight. They have the new bandanas for dogs out there with all the Academia logos on them. They have all the new beers because they constantly have new beers coming up. So check out their new beer selections they have on their website and all the gear and all the special events they have out there. So hit them up.
Bandanas for dogs.
Yeah, they have little cute little pup bandanas. The little, when you always see the golden retriever with the red bandana on it. Well, they got black ones for the Academia on it, and they look really sharp because they have the best logos out there with the Athena logos and such. Again, it's a Greek motif all through Academia Brewing Company. That's just because they're in the Classic City. So I give them a shout out for what they do. Hit us up with some of those questions, Dane.
Yeah, so we have one that came in here into the chat here from Facebook. This is from Ben McCullough, who says he's been a member of the Dog Vent since 2002. Can't thank you enough for that, Ben.
20 years.
He said, here's my question for the night. Obviously, quarterback helps recruit offensive players for their class and the two classes afterwards. What position on defense can do the same thing? And have you seen Georgia have success in creating that? So what's a player on defense or a position on defense that you can recruit and it helps you kind of build out the rest of your class?
Well, one of the things you try to do as the coach is sell the concept that we're a team defense, that we've got guys that supplement each other. Our people up front are kind of space eaters that take up the blocks and set things up for the linebackers. But we also do a good job of putting a lot of pressure on the offensive front with our different stunts and everything. And then you sell the secondary on, you're going to get some pass rush where you're not on an island by yourself all the time and having to defend. So it's more of a team-oriented thing there as compared to a quarterback kind of being a Pied Piper, attracting players to play with them that can catch the ball or run and all that. But I would say a guy like Nakobe Dean would get people, a really good linebacker that is going to be the quarterback of the defense. It's going to run what you want to do. And but you really sell your history. And from Kirby's perspective, just the fact that they've got so many guys playing in the league that he's coached, going back to Florida State all the way through Alabama and all that. So with the team concept and the scheme concept, everybody wants Kirby and all the defensive coaches to come to these clinics and talk about the scheme we use, which is multi-dimensional and runs a lot of different looks and 3-man front, 4-man front, all those different kind of looks and all the pressures that they can get off the different angles of off their nickel and dime defense. So it's a good concept and maybe not quite as individualized as quarterback.
I think a lot of it also has to do with personality, because if you have a guy like a Richard LeCount who came in and was just like the ringleader, of bringing in guys to come with him, even Davin Bellamy, who, kind of signed later in the class, he was recruiting guys to come to Georgia. There are certain guys that just it's not so much to me on defense. It's not so much position as his personality.
Gerald Shepard says, Coach, that his wife is from Burlington, worked in the mills there. So Gerald never had to buy a pair of socks when dating or after they got married.
Who said that? Gerald Shepard?
Gerald Shepard.
Hey, good move there. I mean, you get those free socks from the mills. They bring them out. I know. I hate to say this, but I'm talking about myself. But when I was from Burlington, and I used to take those Gold Cup socks that they had there, and get the ones that were, that weren't the first line kind, and kind of the misfits, and take them down to NC State and sell them out of the back of my car, and I'd take the hose from over there to Kaiser Roth, and sell them those girls over at Meredith, and it was good money back then. I liked it. I was a bootleg socks and hosiery salesman.
Got a couple questions.
I learn something new about you every week, Coach. Every week we learn something new.
I mean, you could take them right out of there. People were starving for them.
I'm going to pair a couple of these questions together. So UGA Alum 95 on Twitter, Easy Chair from the Dog Vent. want to know about Georgia's backup quarterback position, the strengths, weaknesses of Beck, Vandergrift, and what you think will be the quarterback number 2 spot heading into the season. Who's got the higher ceiling? And both of them ended with if coach is willing to address the question. So it's like some people are like scared to talk about quarterback.
Put your recorder on here. Here's the thing about spring practice. You want to get your team ready to play and see who can play and be effective going into fall camp. And you need to know how they're going to react to pressure. And part of the deal is let them work with the first team. So because you're playing with the best players out there and you're getting the most help. So we know what Stetson can do. I mean, we do, but I'm talking about the coaches know what Stetson Bennett can do. He's been around. He's won a national championship. But you want to find out what these other guys can do playing with against the better defenses, but with a good supporting cast. So Beck has taken very good care of the ball. He knows how to run the offense. He's more of a drop-back quarterback. He's got a good arm. He's got a good feel for the game. He knows how to run the offense, and he's had a pretty productive spring from what I've seen a couple times I was out there. And he's benefiting from those reps. As far as Vandergrift, the local guy from Prince Avenue, has made tremendous strides. I'm talking about just very confident out there compared to last spring when he was just learning the offense, trying to get everything under control. And, he was looking at several quarterbacks ahead of him, among which was JT Daniels and all these other guys. So he wasn't getting many reps. Now he's getting a lot of chances out there with the 2s and some with the 1s. He's a very quick guy, very competitive. He's kind of like a Joe Cap type guy. He'll run over people if he's got a chance to, and he can run on the outside. He's very, very physical. So I really like his makeup. I like his demeanor, the way the players react around him. They got a lot of confidence in him, and either one of those guys could fill in very ably for Stetson Bennett. And then Gunnar Stockton's benefiting from coming in after playing in a very competitive situation throughout his high school career, particularly in the summer with all the different leagues he played in with all the good players in the state, 7-on-7, but very quick with his release. He knows where to go with the ball. He's kind of what you expect out of a coach's son, just like Vandergrift's dad saw him out there today. When you're a coach's son, you live and breathe football inside and out. And I've been impressed with Stockton, just the fact that he can jump in there and knows what to do, makes very few mental mistakes. And we got a good quarterback room right now. I like all these guys as far as they're supplementing the starting quarterback. But make no mistake about it, Stetson Bennett, when he's in there, it's just a different vibe. I mean, he knows everything. He can move on the perimeter. He can throw the deep ball. He's got tremendous confidence in himself. The players believe in him. And, we're gonna rock and roll on offense. I mean, we got some really good players. I mean, when your third team tight end is a 5-star player and your second team tight end is a 5-star player and your first team tight end is a 5-star player, you're not playing on the same team. Oh, you are. University of Georgia. We got all 3 of those guys, not to mention A.D. Mitchell on the perimeter. We just talked about the other guys that can catch the ball, and we got some really big old boys in the offensive line that are fighting for their jobs. I mean, the first-team guys are good. Second-team guys are pushing their ass out there. So our offense will be really good.
Hey, Coach, we got to hear from Devin Willett today for, I think, maybe the first time. So he and Xavier Truss actually got some
both very articulate, weren't they?
Oh, absolutely. Two of our favorite interviews. So.
Yeah, I mean, they're both good kids and come from the north.
Massive kids, too.
But Devin Willett, Shaq. I mean, he's big. He's the only guy out there that looks like Mims as far as just both of them. I guess it's Ernest Green is big, and this Hood guy, the new – I don't mean this Hood. I mean the kid's name's Hood. Hood is really good player. Going to be good. He's just kind of get his body going with his age and everything. But 6'9", I mean, massive guy. I mean, looks like Andre the Giant. I mean, just huge. And but he's bigger than Mims. But you talk about somebody good on his feet and smart, got good grades. I mean, he's got over 3.5 after a year and a half at school here. So, I mean, guy's knocking it out. Mims, he's had a little problem here with a concussion here the last week and a half or so, but he'll be back out there soon. And another thing that I thought that I'd tell you is on Thursday, Kirby's having the faculty over for the same kind of open practice to let them see what's going on and interact with the out there and see the players and all. I think it'll be good for a lot of the faculty to come out there, and I'm sure that plenty of them will talk on the dog vent about what they saw, because
that never happens.
Yeah, there'll be a disclosure there. Those people, they'll come back and give you plenty of scoop.
Hey, that would never happen, that people go to a closed practice and then come to the dog vent and tell us everything that went down.
Yeah,
that only happens on days that ends in Y.
Yeah, well, they'll do it, but that's okay. We can handle that, and that helps Kirby out too, because he minds his P's and Q's what he says out there. That'll be good.
I want to mention real
quick. It doesn't help when you say, hey, can this guy get a little extra credit, or can this guy get a little extra time to turn that in? He had a long practice. We had a long travel.
Oh, they don't do that. But what they do is just, just want you to know that they'll have a little bit of they'll take them on tour facilities, but they'll talk about their academic situation and how they try to do. And all they want is just cooperation from the standpoint, if a guy's not doing what he needs to do, we'd like to know it, but we're not asking for anything special. But it's easier to reach out to somebody and meet them halfway, them meet you halfway, if you're trying to, make it easier for them to come to practice and explain what the faculty tickets are like, and if you want to get them. And it's plus the head coach has got a master's degree from this university, so that's pretty cool.
No, hey, my wife's been through it, teaching at the college level. There's lots of times where she has basketball players, baseball players, and stuff like that. They have to miss class or miss a test, and it is all about cooperation and communication. As long as she knows ahead of time that a guy's, part of the tennis team is going to be out of town that Tuesday when the test is being given. You work to get it given ahead of time or get it right when he gets back. The teachers, if they feel like they're working with them, it works a lot easier. And hey, we've had very few stories where we've had to break about a kid being academically ineligible. So knock on wood, that continues. But it's been a while. So
amazing how good they do, because it's a tough school.
Yeah, it really is.
Hey, shout out to Rylan Godey, too. He's a student in the sports media program that I work at as my day job, and he injured his knee, and last week he was still out at the UGA golf course covering the Liz golf tournament. So it's a women's golf tournament for college golfers all around the country, and he was out there in the golf cart covering the best he could. So
good for out. That's good.
Not letting stuff get its way. I wanted to mention real fast, Coach, on quarterbacks, because I wrote a column on UGAsports.com over the weekend. Just two things. The people that I talk to tell me that Vandegrift at least has a super high ceiling and the potential RPO game. So essentially, every team is trying to some extent replicate what LSU did in that crazy 2019 season where Joe Burrow just kind of rewrote the record books. And offenses at least want to have that in their arsenal, and that Vandegrift, because of his physical running, that's a differentiator if he can get everything else under, like it needs to be. The other thing is, I think people
keep going.
Go ahead.
So there's a difference between RPO and zone read. Beck can run the RPOs. I mean, it's either a run, or if it's not a run, you throw it. Beck can do that. But what Vandegrift can do is keep the ball on a zone read and do things like that. And he played in a high school offense. It was a lot like that. So you're right in a way, but don't shortchange Beck. He's good on the RPO game too.
That's an important correction. And you've coached more ball than I have, so I'll trust you more than myself.
No, I was not trying to be smart aleck, but I'm just.
You weren't smart aleck. You were.
What's the second thing here?
Second point is, I think people are already forgetting how effective and magnificent Stetson Bennett was in the college football playoff. So I went back and looked back at the last 4 years of the college football playoff, and essentially Stetson Bennett replicated almost to a T what Trevor Lawrence did 4 years ago to win the national championship. And I just don't think people see that on the same level.
Anybody that doesn't see that has got rose-colored glasses on and really not, or is really drunk, or on some bad drugs. The last 2 games that he had, except for a little bit there,
except for 3 quarters of that championship game where it just
he didn't do bad in the first half. He just had some mental errors by our team. But listen, I'm tired of getting on the high horse about him, and we'll have a lot of things to talk about next year on these shows and all. But Stetson Bennett is not going to be one of the issues. I can tell you that. We might not be as strong in the secondary, or we might not have the depth at linebacker, but we'll have as good a quarterback as anybody in the SEC. You know, maybe not quite as good as Bryce Young, but he was better than him in one of the games last year. So we'll see how that goes. But
the question's out there, Coach, because like we had UGA Alum 95, who's a fantastic supporter of our show, and he had a question. He says he keeps hearing that Beck is outplaying Bennett in spring practice. Is there any truth to it? You know, and he asked you to compare Beck and Brock, which you've already done. But I wanted to emphasize the fact that, yeah, when you hear guys running with the ones in spring,
here's the deal. Here's the deal.
Of
read my lips. Read my lips. A-E-I-O-U. Read my lips. Slowly but surely. He's definitely having a good spring. He's running with the ones. He's getting a chance. Vandergrift's running with the ones. He's getting a chance. All part of the plan by Coach Monken and Kirby Smart. So anything that he's doing looking good out there is predetermined by our coaching staff trying to build him up. It's not that he's beating Stetson out. It's easy to beat him out when Stetson's over there with a clipboard having a chew or something, okay? So
they don't do that at practice?
No, I mean, you know, but I don't know if he does or not, but it's just I'm really overreacting and acting like a really smart aleck there. But I am telling you that he has had a good spring.
Yeah,
so has Vandergrift.
That's great news for all 3 of them. So that's my point. Is
predetermined though.
Yeah, but a lot of people hear that he's going with the ones, and these Facebook groups and other people they get all excited about it. I'm like, whoa! This is the game plan. Let it go, folks.
He's going with the ones. Hey, he's going with the ones. Let me tell you something. Gilbert's playing with the 3s.
Oh, don't touch that.
Oh, so Seether's going to be starting tight end, is what you're saying.
Season's over.
You know why he's playing with the 3s? That's Kirby Smart. He's letting Seether and Goody got hurt. So now Gilbert's with the 2s. But I'd have to think Gilbert would beat Seether out. But I'm telling you, it's just a fair system. You know, you let the guys – we haven't even had – read my lips again. Saturday, 12 o'clock, April what? 1st or 2nd?
2nd.
Is the first full contact scrimmage we've had. Everything else has been so we'll see what happens, but the only way Stetson won't be the quarterback is if something happens to him, physically. I hope it doesn't, but I mean, I hate to even talk about that, but there is nothing to this. I mean,
people forget because they hear it and they make an assumption. We do have a question from Damon.
Well, let's say this: Keely Ringo's not running all the reps with number 1.
Yeah,
so he's getting his ass beat out.
The striking thing to me,
we're going to have people cutting themselves, Coach. You need to stop it.
The striking thing to
I'm
me,
just saying they don't. I mean, I don't have enough. I don't have enough to say about practice because I don't go. I did go a couple of times, but I'm not going to say about what's going on. But I am going to tell you that let's don't make any definitive decisions about UGA depth chart right now. Our depth chart is very fluid.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they've seen the machinations they've had on the offensive line. I don't know that Ernest Green is your number 2 left tackle right now, but that's where we've seen him or heard about him lined up. So,
yeah, I mean, it's easy to line up there when some guys aren't out there.
Yeah.
I mean, so
exactly.
Let's go on to something else here. I might have to take a break and go somewhere else after this. I'm getting some acid reflux.
The thing that stood out in looking at the last 4 national championship quarterbacks, to me, you're talking 8 games in college football playoffs, the last 4 national champions. Burrow, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Stetson Bennett, 0 interceptions in 8 games.
That's pretty good. Turnovers, man. Speaking of somebody who will be catching some of those passes and not turnovers, we had a question from Damon UGA. I don't think that's Damon Evans, but maybe it is. He says, how is Arik Gilbert looking, and what is the latest on Arch Manning?
I don't know Arik Gilbert. I know Eric Gilbert, but he's good. That his brother. I'm happy about the way Gilbert, he had a tough fall, and he had to make some adjustments, and I thought our medical staff did a really good job with him. It's in the past. He's a very intelligent player. Football acumen is there. You can tell him something. You watch him jump around. He knows what to do. They're doing a lot of formations. He never gets yelled at for missing something. I think there's a 49er gold miner. This guy is a gold mine player to me. Just generational type player. You got probably nobody in UGA history will ever have a chance to see 2 guys like Brock Bowers and him in the same lineup, and then you add Big O in there too. It's not fair.
Right. He has lost some weight since when he reported kind of heavy, and from what I've been told, he dropped about 30 pounds. So
yeah, but they'd like for him to gain some now if he's not going to be a wide receiver.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
he could handle 270 in a New York minute.
Wow.
He's got about a 9-month job interview here because what his potential is, NFL draft, he'll be right up there at the top next year.
No question.
And
I saw Brock out there today. Bowers, I said, how's it going? He said, I'm doing a lot of running. I'm moving around good. It's feeling good. But, just process, you got to wait with the labrum. But he looks good. He doesn't look drawn like a guy that's had, the kind of surgery, something like, but he looks good.
Yeah, and as for the Damon's question about Arch Manning, he's Arch is the number 1 player in the nation, and folks that's not just based on name recognition. Arch Manning is the real deal. So he's a top quarterback. Everybody wants him. He just visited Athens, and according to his coach says he loves Athens, and he just had a great visit. He had a great game day experience. He likes the pro-style offense. He's big on Coach Monken's offense. So this is from his head coach. The guy takes a lot of questions after Arch goes to takes a visit.
Yeah, he's been to Texas last weekend. He's going to Alabama, and we've talked about it on the show. His dad's kind of a football junkie type. They like to watch cut-ups. They like to go into meetings with the coaches. Monken's perfect for that. He watches tape a lot, just like any coordinator does. So I think it's going to be a very difficult situation to sign him at any school because of all the competition that everybody's going to have. But I would say, in my mind, Alabama is somebody we got to beat, and they got to beat us too. Texas, I don't know why you go there. The last time they won anything, Caesar was going over the Rubicon. So I don't know.
Spoken like a Sooner.
Well, you know how I feel about Texas.
I know you do.
A little bit better than you feel about Oklahoma State.
They haven't even had any guys drafted, even in the Army. They haven't had anybody on the team drafted for the Army. But that's terrible. Texas is terrible. Why would you want to go there with your sporting cast is going to be so bad? Plus, A&M's on fire right now recruiting. You see all the good players at A&M are getting from the state and everywhere else, and you just don't see that from Texas. They're having a decent recruiting year, but They just paid a guy a lifetime contract at Quinn Ewers to come there to be the quarterback, and he's a Texas guy. But I would say if my money's on us or Alabama.
Yeah, a lot of people want to say he's committed here, he's silently committed there. This is leader, that's the leader. I'm telling you, folks, just
a lot of people. Who are you talking to? Somebody down at the bars or what?
I talked to a lot of people when I was in New Orleans this past weekend. I'm just letting you know that a lot of people think they know what's going on with him. I'm just saying that with the Manning family, this is not a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
Decision.
I agree. I didn't realize that you went out to eat with Archie Manning and all those people.
Hey,
Arch took you out, and
of course,
y'all bet a little bit on the craps, and that was good. Okay,
went to Harris, wound up at Rick's Cabaret. Yeah, that's
way to drop some knowledge there. Okay, what we got next? We sent Roddy down on a seek and destroy mission in New Orleans, and
I did see a seek and destroy kid. Coach, I saw a kid named Jakeem Stewart. He is an 8th grader. He's 6'5", 280 pounds. Georgia offered him last year as a 7th grader when he came to camp.
Quarterback?
No, defensive end. The kid had a bum foot. He hurt his ankle. They put 18 rolls of tape around it. He had a busted finger. He had it in a bag of ice. And he went up against a bunch of 2023 and 2024 offensive linemen and just whooped all their asses.
Really?
Holy crap. This kid is a savant. So Jakeem Stewart. Keep an eye on him. Speaking of eating good food like I did this past weekend in New Orleans, I want to mention our friends over at Your Pie. They do a great job with all their custom pizzas. You go into a Your Pie location, you pick what type of crust you want. They have a white wheat cauliflower, if you want to do the keto style. Then you tell them what type of sauce you want. You tell them all the different cheeses you want, and then all the toppings. And you can put as many toppings on it as you want. You can get their house pizzas. They have different styles, the Ishka, the Southern Heat, the Nat, all the ones that they're kind of famous for. But you can get a custom one made. And it's not like every time you put a new topping on it, it's an additional $1.75 like some of these other locations or other restaurants. Put as many on there as you want. If you want a few more olives, add more olives. If you want peppers, put those on there. Then they're going to turn around, stick it in a super hot oven, which is going to make that crust amazing. You go pay, you get your drink. By the time you sit down, you're not there 3 minutes. They bring out a hot, freshly made pizza for you. Or it's a fresh salad, or it's a fresh sandwich, or it's a fresh pasta. So they have all these great foods there that you can customize to within an inch of their life. And it is a great experience, and I think you'll love it. And always try to order, use the app, do it on a Tuesday, and you'll get double points. And those points add up fast for free pizzas, free breadsticks, free gelato, free drinks. So do that. Also want to mention our other sponsor is Athens Ford. They have over 210 vehicles on their lot currently. The reason I mentioned that, and I've seen them have up to 1,300 vehicles on the lot, but they still have over 200 on the lot right this minute because if you listen to Dave Ramsey or some of these other folks, they will tell you if you can avoid buying a car right now, the market is really bad. And I never try to go against Clark Howard or Ramsey or a guy like that. But sometimes, A, you have to have one, or B, it's like, is there an exception to the rule? And our friends over at Athens Ford are the exception to the rule because you can go over there and get a great deal on the vehicles. They actually have them in stock. You don't have to go to 47 different places trying to find a vehicle. They have them, and they are still wheeling and dealing because they know that if they take care of you now when the market is really tight for a used car or a new car, when the market opens up a lot more, you will remember that and go back to them. Brian Clower and the folks over at Athens Ford, they are big on customer service. They're going to take care of you. They're huge, huge, huge Georgia fans. You can probably get a great deal in a car because they're still walking on clouds from Georgia's national championship. You tell them, hey, I'm going to give you $50 for that car. They'll probably take it. They're just so damn excited. So hit up our friends at Athens Ford. They will take great care of you, and let them know that the folks at UGASports sent you.
Let's do a bit of a rapid fire from the questions at UGAsports.com. Coach, you were talking about cornerbacks. Gilbert Peterson wants to know how you would size up the competition at cornerback opposite Keely Ringo. Do any of those guys stand out?
Yeah, I think we got some good competition there. First of all, we got Poolback. You can play star who's a journeyman guy that's been around, knows what to do. You've got Nyland Green, who played a little bit last year, coming in here. Is very athletic, maybe just a little bit stiff, but pretty good flopping his hips and pretty physical. Also got the kid from Tuscaloosa,
Kamari
Lassiter, who is very good cover guy. He's going to help us. But we picked up Everett as a young guy that got in here at the spring from IMG that was going to Clemson and then changed his mind when Venables left. I mean, I think he's going to be a force there. And then we've got Singletary and Humphrey coming in, two really good players that are highly recruited that'll help us. And we'd probably pick up somebody in the portal too, but a little bit of inexperience there, but at the same time, some talented guys that can jump out there and cover. And I'm really excited about the new coach. Fran's doing a good job. He's a good technique guy. He's a no-nonsense guy. He does a really good job of teaching, and he's right on top of everything. And then you got Muschamp with the safeties, and you got somebody out there as the head coach who knows a little bit about secondary too. So you add all that together, and they really get some good coaching. So we'll be good back on the back end. Be really good back there.
From Pede Tech 1, do you think that you'll see more deep balls with the speed that Georgia has at wide receiver?
Yeah, I think we'll see some just because of the running game is going to be good. And, you have a tendency to have those when you get some waste downs. By that, I mean second and 1, third and 2 in the red zone, something like that. You can really take a chance on when you're making a lot of first downs to go with some waste balls. And you got such tremendous guys like Bowers that can use his body in a crowd, but also can line up into the boundary and run a wheel route or run an angle route off of some kind of drive look or run a flag with out of 2 tight ends with, one of those other guys in the flat with him with a quick flag. And, a lot of times we'll fake the quick pitch and then stand up and hit one of those guys quickly if people trying to run support. So I think our play action game will be among the best in the country because our running game is going to be really powerful with those gap schemes and zone schemes we run with Milton and McIntosh and Edwards, who's very quick. So we'll have an explosive passing game.
From Blocker 57 says we obviously have a solid program with many strengths. What's the greatest concern for Georgia heading into 2022?
Well, I'd say for sure we're solid. Solid as a rock. No, but I mean, really, we are solid. That's a good one there. But as far as concerned, I would just think making sure that you don't take things for granted, do what you're supposed to as far as your schoolwork, working hard over the summer, staying out of trouble, not doing anything that could be construed as trouble. Most good programs, most good companies, most good countries usually have things that happen from within. You know what I mean? That's what happened to Roman Empire. So just don't do anything to keep this ball rolling like it is. Keep it from rolling like it is and take care of your own business. And I don't see any of that happening, particularly with the leadership we have from Kirby and these guys are developing some leadership. And also the new coaches, as we've talked about last week, gives you a little bit more spunk because you got 4 new guys that are trying to learn everything, but they're bringing in new, fresh ideas, and they're also motivating these guys. I mean, they know that these guys are making a decision about who's going to play, so you got to show them your wares again as compared to the guy that you played for last year. So all of that's going to be good. And our schedule, I mean, unless some of these teams really have a magnificent transfer portal, I just don't see a lot of them being a real challenge. And so you just got to avoid losing yourself. Don't beat yourself for penalties, stupid mistakes, and things like that. But, we're really setting pretty good going into next year, but we got some question marks, that's for sure.
From Middleton Dog, out of the existing running backs group, who could turn into the, quote, feature back if Monken ever went that way?
Yeah, I think Milton is the most just from the standpoint of his size and physicality, but certainly Kennedy Mack is a lot like Cook last year, but maybe a little bit bigger. Either one of them could be a feature back for any team, and I think both of them will kind of share the load right now. I wouldn't say one has the edge over the other, but both are outstanding backs, good kids. I mean, anybody walk up to them on the street, you'd be glad to know them as a friend, not necessarily Georgia player. They're just very outgoing and good people.
From Billy Zane, I have a child. Do you think that Todd Monken is an elite offensive coordinator / play caller? Why or why not?
Just won a national championship. I mean, got to say, any way you look at it, the fourth quarter was brilliant. You know, the way we ran the ball, the way we schemed them. We hit a 2nd and 18 for a touchdown pass. You know, a lot of good things we did throughout the year. One of the most explosive offenses in Georgia history. I would say he's elite. He doesn't have a record resume like some coaches because he hasn't been in the elite programs as assistant coach, but he certainly got a good background, professional and college. And right now, I'd say he's among the top 2 or 3 in the country in college, in my opinion.
We'll sneak in 2 more questions. This from Scuffletown Dog. He says, I listen to you guys every week. Really enjoyed your breakdown, coach, of play action and receivers reading defense. He said it's really interesting and very informative. Who do you think is one breakout player on offense and on defense? And then he closes by saying, I'm close to your age and you still got it. Please continue what you're doing, and we really appreciate you being on the show. Thanks again, and may God bless you and your family, Radi and Dayne.
Hey, that's nice of him. Well, if he's close to my age, he's probably close to retirement home. So, but I appreciate him talking about it. Our program, we enjoy doing it. And as everybody knows, what we do is try to promote Georgia football and answer some of your questions. But as far as a breakout player next year, I think offensively, because of the scheme we run, because of the guy that is playing that position, the one that George Pickens did, I think A.D. Mitchell is going to get a chance for a lot of big plays as a wide receiver and could continue to be, as he is already, a really good player. He made really big plays throughout the year for us. Defensively, Jalen Carter, I mean, there's no way you can help but say he's not the best player in the Southeastern Conference. Maybe Will Anderson from Alabama has got a leg up on him because of his stats. But those would be the 2, I would say, breakout players.
I'm going to go on defense, Coach. I'm going to go a different way for me.
I can guess my ass right off the bat, Roddy, because you've been to New Orleans. Good God Almighty. What do you do?
No, I just want to go. To me, Jalen Carter's not a breakout. He's a known quantity.
Ask about guys that lost 35 pounds last year. You ask about coaches. Go ahead. I was kidding.
I would say that Dumas Johnson, I think, is just – every time I hear about this guy, I hear he had like another interception in practice. This guy's just a intercepting linebacker.
He's good. He's good.
I'm just thinking that might be a guy that not everybody knows his name yet.
Oh, you want somebody that we hadn't heard about? I thought he said breakout.
He said breakout, so that to me was kind of, you know.
Yeah, he's good for sure.
Yeah.
Final question of the night. This is going to butter you up a bit, Coach. This is from Val D. UGA.
What's the name?
Coach, Val D. UGA. I'm assuming it stands for Valdosta UGA is my guess.
All right, Valdosta.
That's my guess. I don't know that for sure, but Val D. UGA says, Coach Donnan was far and away the best play caller of, quote, trick plays that we've ever had. What was your secret?
Well, I don't know about that part, but I always tried to call those plays special plays. And the reason it wasn't so much that we were trying to trick the defense, it was that we had a situation where we could do something that looked a little bit different, which to the common fan would look like a trick play. But I sold our players on the fact we were only going to get to run this one time, and everybody needed to do exactly right to make it work perfectly. And, you know, the really good teams are more vulnerable to those kind of plays because you know where they're going to be. They hardly ever work against the bad teams because you never know. These guys could be out of place and you work everything right and some guy line up in the wrong position or something. So we never tried to do that much against the inferior team. But the better teams, you know, they're going to be right where they're supposed to be. And we used to talk in terms of, a situation where we're going to run this special play and we're going to run it at a certain time in the game. And just like we call it fake punt against Mississippi State my first year, and I told Dax Langley, who was throwing the ball, I said, Dax, we got a better chance of you completing this pass to Hines Ward than we do of you getting this punt off, because they rushing everybody, and we got to take a shot. I don't care where we are on the field. We're going to fake the first down punt of the game because I'm tired of trying to block all these guys. And we faked it, and Hines went a long way. I didn't think – Dak's arm kept holding the ball forever like he was afraid to let it go, and he finally let it go, and we just dumped it off over the middle where all those guys left, and it was a good play. But I think just the fact we tried to make it a special play and talked in terms of special plays, but I don't know that we had the type of thing that we were any better than anybody else. But we did have one play over the years between my years in North Carolina, Florida State, everything. We had this one play that was 14 out of 14, and it's never not worked. And it's fake 49 toss, reverse right, quarterback option. And what we would do is we'd pitch the ball to the tailback, and then he would hand it back to Z coming back around. And if the end would take him, then he pitched it to the quarterback who had pitched it out to him. So he just kind of backed up and he dropped. But a lot of times the end would chase it, and he could just take it on down the field. 14 for 14. It's never not worked. So any of you want to run that play, I'll be glad to show it to you. It's the best play that I've ever run as far as 100%.
Just show it to Kirby with A.D. Mitchell on there.
Yeah, I don't show Kirby anything because he knows what he wants to do. I'm not into showing them anything, except they'll ask me once in a while what I think and try to make me feel good, but not too much. But
hey, next time I see you, I'm going to get you to draw that play out.
Another good play that you can always run, that always work, is take your wing back and have him start walking towards the quarterback and say, what's it on? What's the play on? What's it on? Like, what's the play on? And the defense kind of looks up, and then the quarterback says, go. And we go ahead and snap the ball. So it's on go, but, he's acting like he doesn't know the snap gun. It always works for 3 or 4 yards. So it's a good little.
I like that. I do.
What's it on play?
Hey, it's on go, and the ball snaps, and everybody just takes off. Yeah.
Yep. So that's fun to talk about them, but we've kept everybody up, and me too. I mean, it's after 9 o'clock. I'm history. But,
we're gonna let Coach go to bed.
But it was fun to be on at night, and appreciate everybody. And if there's somebody that really likes our show that sometime you want me to talk to you, tell Roddy or Dayne, hey, I'll talk to you a little bit. Well, I don't know what we'll talk about, but I enjoyed talking to Bob Anderson. He likes to play tennis too, so that was fun. So let me know if there's somebody. Don't make a real run on it where I got to talk for next 3 or 4 days, but maybe there's somebody.
We will definitely do that, and we will talk to you folks next Tuesday. This coming Saturday, Georgia has a scrimmage, so hopefully some of those folks will swing by the dog event. Let us know what happened at scrimmage. We'll keep our ears open and try to differentiate fact from fiction.
Parents will be out there.
The
parents.
The parents never tell us what happens at scrimmage. No.
Who's getting snaps of the first team? Huh?
Yeah.
Huh? Hey, I can tell you right now, these guys played a lot better than Stetson Bennett Saturday.
You're predicting what's going to be on the dog.
That's why you tune into the show. You get the unvarnished truth. Coach, break it down.
I don't want to make fun of that guy that asked the question because it was definitely
that's what he was hearing. And that's why he came here.
He's hearing the right thing because they are playing better than him because they're playing.
Yeah. Hey, UJ Alum 95 is one of our. He gives us a good question every week.
I'll give him credit. He's exactly right. He's right.
So, and that's the point. That's why you tune into the show. So tune in next Tuesday at noon. We will be able to break. I'm sure there'll be a lot of hot rumors going on.
Next Tuesday at noon, we'll have a new national champion in basketball, men's and women's. It's going to be great.
And shout out to Josh Brooks for having having lost both his basketball coaches and having them replaced pretty damn quick. Took two coaches from the state of Florida.
Josh has done well with these all the hires. Going back to track and soccer and softball. Great. I'll tell you another thing that's good today. See Coach Lamb out there, 85 years old.
Really? That's
was
awesome.
Out there. Got a chance to say hello. His grandson Trey's the head coach at Gardner Webb, and he was there watching practice today along with Joseph Selfo, who's I remember the night Joseph Selfo was born up in Huntington, West Virginia. Coach Selfo and Nancy were there, and Joseph now is an offensive line coach for Gardner Webb, and impressive to see both those guys out there. And I know Coach Lamb was glad to see his son, but Ray Lamb's done a lot for Georgia football, high school and college. He's been a good man.
Yeah, Coach Lamb is a legend, as is Coach Selfo. So we appreciate both of them.
Hey, Coach, I just want a yes or no answer on this, and we can tease it for next week if you indeed have one. Do you have a good Coach K story?
Mike Krzyzewski?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one. He chaps my ass.
All right, we'll leave it at that. If Duke wins the national championship,
he ran me out of Cameron Indoor Stadium. I was just coming in there to. I'll tell you about that.
If Duke wins the title, if Duke loses the title, that's when we need to get the surly.
Yeah. Everybody needs to pull for Chapel Hill High in this game. Let's go.
All right. That's the tease. There is whatever happens in the Final Four. There is a Jim Donnan story about Coach K coming next week.
He's a good coach, but I'm gonna tell you, the best coach in the country, Gino Auriemma. The guy's going to his 14th straight Final Four. Can you believe? I mean, unreal. 14 straight.
I've been to Final Fours with Gino there. The man is
he's a good man too.
He's a good guy. All right, talk to you folks next Tuesday. Shout out to our podcast sponsors, Athens Ford, Your Pie, Academia Brewing Company, and Dead Soxy. We appreciate them sponsoring the show, and we appreciate you for watching. We'll see you next week.